Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've ever felt that sinking feeling in your stomach because you realize the money situation in your relationship, or, even with your family, is just a lot murkier than you thought, then this deep dive is for you. Today, we are tackling the absolute foundation of financial safety. We're moving past the usual talk about which stock to pick or how to budget, and we're getting to the core question. How do you financially protect yourself in any relationship? I mean, dating, living together, marriage, even friendships and family. And how do you do it without killing the trust or, seeming completely unromantic? Our mission today is to unpack the moves you need to make, the things that ensure you have clarity, access, and boundaries, no matter how solid or loving your relationship feels right now. Maybe you're realizing that constantly lending money to a friend isn't really helping them. It's stressing you out. Or maybe you moved in with your partner and now it's hitting you that you have zero idea about the shared bills or even where the lease is. That feeling is so common. And we want to give you the tool to replace that fear with actual competence. To guide us, we have a fantastic expert with us. She's a financial therapist based in Denver, and she has this really powerful dual perspective. She spent years as a certified financial planner, seeing the spreadsheets, the technical side, before she moved into therapy to really address the emotional and behavioral side of money.
I'm so glad we're getting into this. It's crucial. As a former CFP, I saw that gap all the time. The one between the math on the page and the psychological reality of people's lives. You'd have couples come in with, perfectly optimized investment portfolios, but their relationships were just crumbling.
Crumbling, why?
Because the entire structure underneath was built on things like dependency or secrecy or just plain fear.
You mentioned seeing this gap a lot. Can you tell me more about what that looked like?
Yeah.
When you went from just seeing the spreadsheets to seeing the actual people behind them?
Of course. Well, as a CFP, my job was to optimize assets, right? But I learned really quickly that the number in the asset column, how much money a couple had, it almost never correlated with how secure or in control each person felt.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had this one case, I think I've mentioned it before. A couple with a really significant net worth. I mean, on paper, they were absolutely set for life. But in our private sessions, it came out that one partner was completely, utterly dependent on the other. The one partner managed everything. And she told me, I don't know any of our account passwords. I have no idea what our tax bracket is. If he left me tomorrow, I wouldn't even know how to find our own insurance policy. The dependence was total. So the money was there, but the access to it, the knowledge about it, that was completely missing for her.
That's a huge distinction. So financial vulnerability isn't just about not having money.
Yeah.
It's about being kept in the dark and not having any agency, no matter how much is in the bank.
Exactly. That's what we call the access gap. So when we talk about protection today, what we're really talking about is making sure everyone in a relationship gets to keep their adult status, their right to information.
Yeah.
And we need to define that right now because I think people hear protection and they immediately jump to distrust.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's really define what financially protecting yourself actually means and separate it from secrecy or, a lack of faith in your partner.
Financial protection is not a defensive move. It's an informed, self-respecting one. It's an agreement with yourself that you, as an individual, deserve to be safe. For me, protection really boils down to 4 specific things. First, you know what's going on with your money, your balances, your debts, your cash flow.
Okay.
Second, you are not totally dependent on another person for your basic needs or for information. Third, you have access to your own funds and documents in your own name.
In your own name. That feels important.
It's critical. And fourth, and this is the big one, you have the ability, both practically and emotionally, to leave a situation if it ever became harmful.
I love that last point, the ability to leave. It means safety is actually built into the structure of your life, not just something you hope for.
Precisely. I always use the car analogy. It's about having a seatbelt and airbags. You put on your seatbelt not because you expect your partner to suddenly drive off a cliff, but because you are a responsible adult who's in charge of your own safety in case of an accident. Or, in relationship terms, an unforeseen breakup or an illness or some other crisis.
It's a sign of maturity, not suspicion.
Exactly.
That reframing is so important. It takes the shame out of it. But for someone listening right now who might be thinking, wait a second, I might not be protected. What are some of those quiet internal signs they should be paying attention to?
We can do a quick little a psychological check-in right now. If you find yourself avoiding the mail because you don't want to see the bills or the joint account statements, that's a sign. If you have no real idea what your partner earns or what your total household debt is, or if they have some major financial obligation you don't know about, that's a huge information gap. If you don't have the logins for the utilities or shared banking or investments, if you feel scared or anxious or guilty every time you even think about bringing up money. But I think the most defining signal is that sudden moment of clarity, that oh my God moment when you think, if this relationship ended tomorrow, I would be financially stranded. I'd have no money, maybe no credit, and no idea where to even begin.
Yeah.
If that thought triggers real gut-wrenching panic, that's a sign that action is needed.
That panic is a very real feeling. And we just want to say, it's okay to feel that way, but it's not okay to stay uninformed because of it. Protection is about regaining control over that anxiety.
Yeah.
These patterns, they start so early.
Right.
Long before you're living together or married. We have to be like students of financial character right from the very beginning.
This is so critical. In the dating stage, you are not assessing their net worth. You're assessing foundational character traits, honesty, accountability, how they handle stress. And money is the perfect stress test.
Right.
You're not sharing assets yet, but you are observing behaviors that will 100% translate into how they handle shared finances down the road.
So what are some of those red flags in early dating? The kind that show the problem isn't about their income, but about their character.
Okay, let's focus on 3 themes: entitlement, secrecy, and irresponsibility. Entitlement might look like them consistently expecting you to pay for everything, regardless of your incomes. Or always ordering the most expensive thing on the menu and then making a big show of, oh, I must have left my wallet at home.
The classic move.
The classic move. If it happens once, fine, it's a mistake. If it's a pattern, it's a calculated decision to shift the financial burden to you.
And what about secrecy?
Secrecy is a huge one. And look, we're not talking about asking for their 401k statement on date 3, but if they're super evasive about why they're always stressed about money, or if they, disappear to the bathroom every time the check arrives, or they're clearly hiding something major, like their wages are being garnished, that needs attention.
So it's not just that they aren't paying, it's the manipulation around the money.
Precisely. And that leads to the third major flag, which is pressure. If someone starts asking to borrow money from you very early on, or even worse, pressures you to help them with their own personal bills, like a car payment they already had, or their credit card debt.
It's a massive red flag.
It is. They are testing you. They are trying to see if they can shift their personal liabilities onto you before any real commitment has even been established.
And then there's the most dangerous one, which I see people fall for all the time. The one that uses your good financial standing against you.
The co-signing request.
Yes.
If they say something like, could you put this in your name? Your credit is so much better than mine. What they're doing is attempting to socialize the risk while they privatize the benefit. They get the car or the apartment or the phone, and you get all the legal liability if they default.
A healthy partner would never ask you to do that.
Never. A healthy partner respects your financial boundaries and would never ask you to put your own credit score on the line for their benefit, especially not early in a relationship.
Okay, so that's all pretty clear. Let's flip it. What are the financial green flags we should be actively looking for?
Look for integrity and responsibility. Green flags are not about them having a perfect credit score or a huge salary. They're about honesty.
So what does that look like in practice?
It looks like a willingness to split costs fairly or take turns paying. It's also being transparent about their situation, even if it isn't perfect. For example, they might say, hey, I'm really focused on paying down my student loans right now, so I need to stick to more affordable places for a while.
That shows self-awareness.
Exactly. Self-awareness and accountability. And crucially, they respect your boundaries without pushing. If you say, I can't really afford that concert this week, a healthy partner just accepts it and says, okay, let's do something else, without making you feel cheap or guilty.
They treat it like a normal adult problem to solve.
Right. It's just logistics. It's not a referendum on the relationship.
Okay, let's move on. Moving in together. This is often seen as, the last step before you just merge everything. And it's where so many people slide into that dangerous entanglement we talked about. It's a huge financial and legal step.
It is. And the danger is that people assume cohabitation is just like dating, but you share the electric bill. Legally, it's way more complex, and psychologically, it changes everything. Because now you share fundamental housing security, you absolutely must have a practical framework in place before the moving truck shows up.
So let's go over those 3 core principles for moving in together safely.
1, you have to talk openly before you sign the lease, not after. 2, you must keep at least 1 primary checking and 1 savings account solely in your own name, completely separate. And 3, be crystal clear on who is responsible for what, and ideally, get it in writing.
Let's break down that pre-move conversation. It can feel so awkward. What are the specific questions that have to be answered?
You need to know the basic financial landscape you're walking into. You should be discussing things like post-tax income, any major existing debts, student loans, car loans, significant credit card debt, and any non-negotiable monthly expenses they have, like insurance or child support.
And how to split things.
Yes, crucially, you have to agree on how you're going to share the expenses. Is it going to be a straight 50-50 split, or will you prorate it based on your incomes? The conversation itself is the safety check.
So if your partners just have stone walls, if they say that's none of your business or we'll figure it out later, don't ruin the mood, that's the loudest possible warning sign, isn't it?
It is the absolute loudest warning. Moving in is a financial merger. If they refuse to even talk about the basic terms of that merger, they are telling you that they value secrecy or maybe control over shared responsibility. That almost never gets better once you're sharing a lease and a bathroom.
Let's really hammer down on that second principle, the importance of personal accounts. So many couples, even unmarried ones, they feel this pressure to just throw everything into a joint account right away. Why is keeping those separate individual accounts so non-negotiable?
Your individual accounts, the ones solely in your name, are your lifeline. They are your financial oxygen mask. If you only have joint accounts, your partner can legally freeze you out or even drain those funds, leaving you with 0 immediate access to cash.
So no money for rent or a security deposit if you need to leave suddenly.
Exactly. Your personal account ensures that you never ever need your partner's permission to access your own money. It keeps your agency, your adulthood intact.
Okay, so logistically, how should the money flow to make that structure work?
The safest model is what I call the hub and spoke model.
Yeah.
Your paychecks should flow directly into your individual personal accounts first. Those are the spokes. Then, the agreed upon amount for shared expenses, let's say it's $1,500 each, is automatically transferred from your personal account into the shared household account on the first of the month. That's the hub.
And the shared account pays for the rent, utilities, groceries.
All the joint bills. And whatever is left over in your personal account is yours to manage. For your own savings, your hobbies, your personal spending, it's clean.
It keeps the household secure while maintaining individual protection. I like that.
Right. It confirms you're both still operating as financially capable adults in a partnership.
And finally, let's talk about the power of getting things in writing. Since you're not married, you don't have those automatic legal protections. How can a simple written agreement help?
The goal is clarity over assumption. For renters, a simple agreement, it could even be a shared Google Doc, needs to outline the bill split and, critically, what happens if the relationship ends before the lease is up.
Oh, that's a big one.
It's huge. For example, if both your names are on a 12-month lease and one person moves out after 6 months, are they still responsible for their half of the rent until you find a new roommate? Deciding that beforehand saves you from a massive emotional fight later on.
And what about for people buying property together?
If you're buying a home together while unmarried, that is a high-stakes situation. A legal consultation is non-negotiable. You need a formal cohabitation agreement or a deed of trust that outlines who contributed what to the down payment and how the equity will be split if you separate. Without that document, one partner could walk away with nothing, even if they put in tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay, so what does this all mean in practice? We really need to flag some of those high-risk moves people make, usually out of love or optimism, that are actually financial traps.
They really are, and they're so dangerous because they are often disguised as gestures of commitment or deep trust.
Let's start with trap number 1, and we can't say this enough. Co-signing loans early in a relationship.
It's so risky. Co-signing is often framed as this small favor to help someone you love get a car or an apartment because their credit isn't great. But when you co-sign, you are legally telling the bank, I am equally and fully responsible for this entire debt.
So if they miss one payment?
If they miss one payment, that delinquency goes on your credit report, often even before it hits theirs. If they stop paying altogether, the creditor will come after you for the entire remaining balance.
And then you're stuck making payments on a car you don't even drive just to save your own credit score.
All the time. Your credit score can drop by 100 points or more, which can prevent you from getting your own mortgage or car loan later. The absolute rule here is, if you cannot afford to write a check for the full amount of the debt today, you cannot afford to co-sign it. Because if the relationship ends, that debt is very likely going to be yours.
Okay, trap number 2 is a bit more subtle. It's not adjusting things when a partner moves into a place you already own or rent.
Yes, this creates a really significant power imbalance and a lot of potential resentment. If you own the house, you're carrying the mortgage, the property taxes, the maintenance. If your partner moves in and only contributes, say, half the utility bill, you're basically subsidizing their life.
Right.
You're enabling them to save money and build zero equity while you carry all the risk and financial strain. You need a clear conversation about their contribution to the household utilities, groceries, and a fair rent payment that covers a portion of the actual housing costs. It's about them sharing the burden of the home they now live in.
Trap number 3.
Yeah.
Sharing full online banking access. Passwords, PI, and security questions. All of it.
This is a huge trap in our digital age.
Right.
People confuse transparency with giving up control. Transparency is about sharing statements, reviewing budgets together, having open conversations. Giving up control means handing someone the keys to drain your personal savings account.
Or commit fraud in your name.
Or commit fraud, or lock you out of your own accounts. No matter how much you trust someone, you have to maintain separate, secure passwords for your personal accounts. That is basic digital security. A joint account is one thing, but your own accounts should be sacred.
And trap number 4. Allowing that financial isolation to set in, where one partner just kind of takes over everything and shuts the other one out.
This one is so insidious because it often starts innocently. One partner is just better with numbers or more organized. But over time, that can be weaponized. The passive partner slowly loses all understanding of where the money is, how taxes are paid, what the long-term plan is.
Which leaves them totally helpless if the relationship ends.
Completely. They're incapacitated. Even if one person is the designated money manager, the other partner must have regular guaranteed access to all the statements, the logins, which they should use periodically to stay current, and an equal voice in all major financial decisions. Shared security requires shared management.
So for the person listening who just realized, oh no, I'm already in one of these traps. Maybe they co-signed a loan, or they've completely merged their finances and feel totally in the dark. What's the very first, most gentle step they can take?
First, just breathe. What's done is done. You can only control what you do from today forward. The path out is built on gently increasing your awareness, not on creating drama.
So no big confrontation.
No. Use non-accusatory language to just open the door a crack. For instance, if you co-sign that car loan, you could say, hey, for my own peace of mind and just to protect my credit, could we set up an alert so I get a notification each month when the car payment goes through?
That's a good one.
Or if you don't have a separate account, frame it as a personal goal. I've been thinking about my long-term goals, and I realized I really need to build an emergency fund that's just in my name. It would give me more peace of mind, so I'm going to open a small savings account this week.
And then the key is to observe their reaction.
That is the most important part. Observe how your partner responds. If they're supportive, great. But if you get a defensive, hostile, or guilt-tripping reaction, that is crucial information. It tells you that you might be dealing with more than just financial disorganization. You might be dealing with control.
Okay, let's zoom into marriage and other long-term commitments. Here, merging finances is often the cultural expectation. How do we stay a united team while still maintaining that individual protection and agency, especially when the stakes are so much higher with shared assets, kids, debts?
In a long-term marriage, the goal shifts. It's not about avoiding entanglement anymore. It's about structuring a clear, respectful, and functional partnership. The default expectation to just merge everything into one big pot is often where the trouble starts.
Why is that?
Because it forces every single dollar spent to become a joint decision. And that leads to constant monitoring, judgment, and resentment. It's exhausting. That's why we strongly recommend the yours, mine, and ours system for committed couples.
The yours, mine, and our system. Okay, let's break down how that actually works and maybe address the pushback I know some people feel that it sounds less committed or something.
That pushback is so common. People worry it means you don't trust each other or you aren't fully unified. But in practice, this system is designed to strengthen the commitment by eliminating the vast majority of day-to-day money fights.
What's the ours account?
The ours account is your central joint account. It's for your shared life, the mortgage or rent, the utility bills, groceries, car insurance, contributions to joint retirement accounts, savings for shared goals like vacations or college funds. All of that gets paid from the ours account.
Okay, that makes sense. And the yours and mine?
The yours and mine accounts are essential for autonomy. These are separate personal checking accounts where an agreed upon amount of discretionary money is transferred each month, and that money is completely private and judgment-free.
So if you want to spend it on a hobby or a gift for your partner or a lunch with friends,
you just do it. You don't need to ask permission or justify the expense. It's your money.
But doesn't that just complicate things? Why not just pay for personal stuff from the shared account?
Because the psychological benefit is huge. If everything is in one joint account, every purchase is visible and up for debate. If I buy a new pair of running shoes for $100 and my partner thinks that's frivolous, it can become a fight.
Right.
In the yours, mine, ours system, that $100 comes from my personal agreed upon mine account. And the discussion is over before it even starts. It fosters autonomy, which massively reduces financial stress and protects the harmony in the relationship.
So where does the income flow? Still into personal accounts first.
For maximum clarity and safety, yes. Paychecks should still flow into the individual yours and mine accounts first, even in a marriage. From there, the agreed-upon contribution for all the shared household expenses gets automatically transferred into the ours account.
Yeah.
The rest stays separate. It's the cleanest, safest structure for both people.
How do you even begin to talk about this? If a couple has had fully merged accounts for, say, 10 years, and one person wants to change things up,
you have to frame it as a strategy for reducing conflict and increasing peace of mind for both of you.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. You could say something like, honey, I was thinking, you know how we sometimes bicker about small purchases? I think we could completely eliminate that stress if we each had a small, no questions asked fund for our own personal spending. It's not about separating our lives. It's about giving us both more freedom and peace of mind within our marriage. I think it would make us both happier.
It's an act of care, not an act of separation.
Exactly. You're solving a shared problem together.
Let's connect all this to the more technical side of things. Credit scores, debt, and the very unromantic topic of prenups. These are the legal layers of protection.
They are absolutely vital. First, everyone needs to remember that credit scores are always individual. Marriage does not merge your credit scores. If you marry someone with bad credit, your good score doesn't magically fix theirs.
And their debts don't automatically become yours.
Generally, no. They're separate debts. The ones in their name only from before the marriage do not become yours. The exceptions are if you co-sign on something or if you live in one of the 9 community property states.
That's a really important distinction. Can you quickly explain what that means? Community property versus the more common equitable distribution.
Sure. In most states, which are equitable distribution states, assets and debts acquired during the marriage are divided fairly in a divorce, but not always a strict 50-50. And debt that one person brought into the marriage usually stays their own problem.
Okay.
But in community property states like California, Texas, and Washington, almost anything acquired during the marriage, including debt, is considered joint property, 50-50, regardless of whose name is on the account. That's why you absolutely have to know your state's laws and have that open debt discussion before you get married.
So part of protecting your financial health is just contemplate, regularly checking your own credit report, even when you're happily married.
Absolutely. Think of it as a quarterly financial health checkup. It ensures there are no surprises on there, no accounts you don't recognize, either due to an error or, in very rare and serious cases, financial fraud.
Okay, and finally, let's talk about prenups and postnups. They just carry such a negative weight. How do we reframe them as acts of care, not distrust?
We have to stop thinking of them as planning for divorce. A prenuptial agreement is simply a customized legal operating agreement for your marriage. It's an act of radical clarity.
When are they most valuable?
They're especially valuable if one partner comes in with a family business or significant premarital assets or expects a large inheritance. A prenup protects those specific assets and provides total clarity on how things will be handled if you do separate. It actually removes a massive source of potential conflict and legal fees down the line. The conversation should be framed as, let's make these big decisions now while we are rational and in love so we don't have to fight about them later if things get messy. The only real red flag is a partner who uses shame or manipulation to shut down the conversation. A secure partner understands the value of clarity.
This is such critical material, and I think we need to slow down and really dedicate some time to this next part. We need to clearly define when unhealthy money habits cross the line into becoming genuinely harmful, and give our listeners the language and tools to recognize financial abuse.
Yes. Financial abuse is a form of domestic violence. It's about using money and financial systems to exert power and to dominate another person. The core themes are always control and secrecy, and it happens across all income levels. This isn't about being messy with money. This is about weaponizing it.
What are some of those specific, insidious signs of financial abuse that people might be overlooking or even rationalizing away?
Well, the signs are varied, but they all serve the same goal: to isolate the victim and make them dependent. The abuser might insist on controlling all the bank accounts, refusing to share passwords, statements, or even give their partner a debit card.
Wow.
They might enforce a restrictive, humiliating allowance, demanding receipts for every small purchase while keeping the bulk of the household finances a complete secret. There are also deep psychological tactics, things like actively sabotaging their partner's ability to work or earn an income.
How would they do that?
They might hide the car keys before a job interview, or constantly call them at work to get them in trouble, or just mock their professional abilities until they lose all their confidence and quit. They might put all the utilities in their partner's name and then deliberately not pay the bills, causing a shutoff, only to blame their partner for the crisis.
I think the most chilling part is making the victim feel like a child, like they're incompetent and can't be trusted with money.
Yes, the abuser fosters confusion. They might take out credit cards or loans in the partner's name without their consent, ruining their credit, or they'll constantly move money between different accounts to make the financial picture impossible to understand. If you feel scared, anxious, or like you have to ask for permission to ask as a simple money question, that is a 5-alarm fire. That emotional control is the very heart of the abuse.
If someone listening is experiencing this, their physical safety has to be the #1 priority. But what are the gentle, quiet first steps they can take to start building an exit plan and regaining some financial footing?
If safety is ever a concern, the very first call should be to a domestic violence resource or a trained professional. Beyond that, the steps need to be quiet and very calculated. The goal is information gathering and creating a small, private landing pad for yourself. So step 1 is quiet information gathering. Whenever you can, when the mail arrives or a statement is left out, take private notes. Write down account numbers, bank names, balances, contact numbers. Take pictures of essential documents, tax returns, passports, social security cards, and store them securely outside the home. Maybe in an encrypted cloud account or with a trusted friend.
Okay.
Step 2. Open a small, separate bank account at a completely different bank than any you share. This has to be undetectable. And you start funding it with very small, non-suspicious amounts of cash. $20 here, $50 there. You're gradually building a survival fund that the abuser won't notice is missing.
And step 3.
Step 3. Quietly check your own credit report. It's free to do. This will show you if any debts have been taken out in your name without your knowledge. But the most important thing is this. Do not make any sudden dramatic moves without a safety plan in place. A large withdrawal or a direct confrontation can escalate the danger dramatically. You are building options, not starting the exit yet.
That is such important life-saving advice. Thank you for walking through that so carefully. We've focused a lot on partners, but sometimes the biggest financial risks come from our own families and friends. We need to talk about setting boundaries around lending and managing expectations when you're the one who becomes financially stable.
Absolutely. Setting boundaries with family is so uniquely challenging because the conversation is just loaded with love and guilt and history. The second you achieve some financial stability, you can quickly get nominated to be the bank of the family.
Right, and you're suddenly getting constant requests for loans or help.
Exactly. Loans, co-signing, bailouts, it can be overwhelming.
Let's start with the absolute rule of thumb for lending money to a friend or family member.
The golden rule is this. If you cannot afford to never see that money again, you cannot afford to lend it. Period. When you lend to a loved one, you have to mentally recategorize that money as a gift.
Why is that so important?
Because it protects two things. It protects your relationship, because if they can't pay you back, you won't harbor all this resentment. And it protects your own finances because you're only giving away money you can truly spare, not your mortgage payment or your retirement savings. If you actually need it back, you have to act like a bank with a written contract and interest, and that is almost always damaging to family dynamics.
What about co-signing for family? This is the one I hear about destroying relationships.
It is lethal to relationships and finances. Think about it. If your sibling needs you to co-sign a loan, it's because a regulated bank with all its data and algorithms has already determined that they are a high risk for default.
And by co-signing, you're betting against the bank.
You are betting against the bank's very sophisticated risk assessment. And when that loan defaults, and it often does, you can ruin your relationship. You will almost certainly ruin your own credit, and you limit your ability to borrow for your own future. The most loving thing to do is not to sign. Give them a cash gift if you can, or help them budget, but do not put your name on that dotted line.
And what do we do about that constant pressure from the bank of the family trap? When you feel so guilty saying no, but you know your own stability is on the line.
You have to give yourself permission to protect your own financial future first. It is not your job to sacrifice your security to subsidize someone else's lack of planning. The key is to define your limits and then communicate them calmly and clearly. You can set a boundary by saying, I have a certain amount set aside for family help each year, and once that's used up, I can't help more until next year. Or you can redirect the help to something non-monetary. I can't give you money for that bill, but I can sit down with you tonight and help you research payment plans or find local aid resources.
That shows you still care.
It shows you care deeply, but without sacrificing your own savings. Financial protection means setting these kind but firm boundaries, even with the people you love the most.
Okay, let's get really practical. The what do I actually say segment. Our script clinic. I think we need to slow down here and really provide the psychological framing behind these sentences people can use.
Absolutely. The tone is everything. You're aiming for curiosity, a sense of shared security, a team approach, never accusation.
So give us the opening script. How do you start a general money conversation, framing it as a search for shared safety?
The best way is to own the feeling yourself and invite them to collaborate. You could say something like, hey, I was listening to this deep dive and it just made me realize I don't really have a full understanding of our big picture finances. It would honestly help me feel a lot more secure if we could set aside an hour next week just to go over everything together and make sure we're on the same page.
I see the psychology there. You're making it about your need for security, which is much less confrontational than saying, I need to know what you're spending our money on.
Exactly. You're inviting them to be your helpful partner in easing your anxiety.
Okay, now for a trickier one. Introducing the yours, mine, ours system after years of just merging everything. That requires some real finesse.
Yes, you have to frame the benefit, specifically the benefit of reducing stress and monitoring for both of you. So you could say, I've been thinking it could actually reduce a lot of stress for both of us if we each had a small personal account for our own spending. This isn't about separating our finances, it's about giving us both more freedom. We contribute X to the joint account for all the bills, and the rest is ours to spend without having to track it or ask about it. It's just peace of mind for both of us.
And then comes the inevitable pushback. What, don't you trust me? How do you handle that? That's where so many of these conversations just die.
You have to be calm, firm, and gentle. Do not get defensive. Acknowledge their feeling, but redirect the focus back to individual responsibility. Say, of course I trust you completely. This isn't about my trust in you. This is about me taking full responsibility for my own financial well-being and making sure we both have autonomy in case anything unexpected ever happens. You separate trust in the person from trust in the system. That diffuses the emotional weapon.
Boundary script number 1. Saying no to co-signing for a partner or a family member.
Be empathetic but unmoving. Say, I care about you so much and I really want to help, but I have a firm personal policy that I never co-sign on loans. It puts my own credit and my long-term financial security at serious risk, and I just can't do that. I can't sign the loan, but I'm happy to sit down with you and help you research other options. You make the boundary about your fixed policy, not about their untrustworthiness.
Boundary script number 2. Lending to family, especially when they're laying on the guilt trip.
Here you use that potential gift rule. I love you, and I can see how stressful this is, but I am not able to lend that amount right now without putting my own essential savings at risk. I can't do a $500 loan, but I can give you $50 right now, no strings attached, and I can help you look for resources to cover the rest. It shows care while protecting your core assets.
Boundary script number 3. Sharing full online banking access. protecting your personal logins.
I absolutely want you to be fully informed, so I'm happy to go over my statements with you and review our accounts together anytime. However, I'm not comfortable sharing my personal login details. I just believe it's healthy for each of us to maintain our own secure access for our individual accounts, and that's a boundary I need to keep for myself.
And number 4, a partner who makes big secret purchases that impact the shared budget.
You frame this as a need for teamwork and anxiety management. When big purchases happen and I only find out after the fact, it makes me feel really anxious and out of the loop, especially when it affects our shared goals. Can we agree that for any purchase over, say, $250, we'll just make a commitment to talk about it together first? You're not asking for permission, you're asking for collaboration.
This next section is for the listener who wants to be proactive. Building security, whether the relationship is great right now, or if they're feeling a little shaky and need to take some quiet steps. You mentioned layers of action.
Yes, we can think of it as layer 1, which is just good financial maintenance, and layer 2, which is for quiet protection.
Okay, what's in layer 1?
Layer 1 is about basic adult security. This is stuff everyone should be doing, partnered or not. First, you must have a personal checking and savings account solely in your own name. Second, start a personal emergency fund separate from any joint savings. Start small, just set up an automatic weekly transfer. Third, know your credit baseline, check your score and full report at least once a year. And fourth, know where your key personal documents are. Your birth certificate, social security card, passport. This is just responsible adulting.
So this first layer is really about maintaining your self-sufficiency, even when you're in a happy partnership.
Precisely. Now, layer 2 is for uneasy or controlled situations. If you are feeling controlled, isolated, or trapped, these steps need to be done quietly and systematically. So, step 1, you intensify that quiet information gathering. Create a hidden list-off site encrypted somewhere safe of all shared account names, bank names, your partner's work information, any debts you can find. This is crucial for any future legal action. Step 2, open that small account at a different separate bank that your partner knows nothing about and slowly build a buffer. And step 3, document the patterns of control. Keep a private log with dates of times you were denied access to money or when your job was sabotaged. This is evidence. And I have to repeat the critical warning. If your partner is prone to anger or violence, your physical safety comes first. Do not make large withdrawals or have a confrontation without a safety plan that you've created with an outside resource like a domestic violence hotline.
Okay, it's time for some rapid-fire clarity on a few common concerns to get past those last psychological barriers. First question, does asking for transparency mean you have low trust?
No, absolutely not. Asking for transparency means you are practicing shared responsibility. It is a sign of maturity and strength in a relationship. A healthy partner will appreciate that you want to be informed and build a secure future together. It is not distrustful to want to know the details of the ship you are co-captaining.
Question 2, is it too late if I've already made risky decisions? Co-signed a loan, have no separate accounts, everything is merged.
It is never, ever too late. Today is the first day you can start to fix it. Start by checking your credit report to see what the situation is. Then use one of those gentle scripts we talked about to introduce the idea of a personal account. Small, consistent steps create powerful change.
And question 3, is it inherently bad or unromantic to get a prenup?
Only if it's introduced with hostility or as a threat. If it's approached as a thoughtful, collaborative business decision that protects both individuals and maybe even their extended families, it's incredibly rational and mature. It removes future ambiguity, and that clarity can actually build trust, not erode it.
Okay, let's wrap this all up with the key takeaways. We've covered so much ground today, from a first date all the way to legal action. What are the 3 non-negotiable points you want listeners to really internalize?
1, financial safety and emotional intimacy are not opposites. They actually reinforce each other. You can love someone with your whole heart and still be prudent and protect yourself. 2, knowing your financial situation is a basic human right. Do not ever let anyone make you feel stupid or greedy or anxious for asking for information that you are entitled to. And 3, keeping at least one bank account solely in your own name and consistently building your own personal savings. That is the foundational step toward lifelong autonomy and security.
And to add to that, be extremely wary as anyone who asks you to compromise your credit score or give up access to your own money. And if you feel trapped or scared or controlled, please know you are not crazy and there is professional help available.
You deserve relationships, all of your relationships, where you feel respected, informed, and safe. And unlearning that cultural myth that true love means never talking about money is one of the bravest and most important steps you can take for yourself.
I want to end with a single, highly actionable challenge for everyone listening right now. Just pick one of these 3 actions to do this week. Don't get overwhelmed by the whole list, but just focus on one. Number 1, the information check-in. Take 15 minutes. Write down honest answers to these questions. Do I know our total monthly spending? Do I have money in an account that's only in my name? And what is the one question I am most afraid to ask my partner about our finances? Just getting it out of your head and onto paper is a powerful first step. Number 2, start the conversation. Use one of those team-oriented scripts we gave you today. Just open the door gently to a money talk with your partner. Frame it as a search for shared peace of mind. Or number 3, take one protection step. Check your free annual credit report online, or open that small personal savings account at a new bank. Or just gather all your essential documents, your ID, your birth certificate, and put them in one safe, secure folder that you control. Choose the one that feels easiest, and just do it. You are allowed to be both kind and cautious at the same time. And the future you, the one who builds on this foundation, is already grateful for the clarity you create today.